So, color me intrigued by this upcoming Netflix sci-fi epic called The Three Body Problem. I guess this is put together by an impressive array of people, which includes the creators of HBO's Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. I know some people have bitterness in their hearts with these guys about last season of Game of Thrones. I don't. It is what it is. Creatives have ups and downs in their careers. As good as Game of Thrones is, George R. R. Martin has not written a lot of stuff that I personally enjoy. As an example, same thing with like Timothy Zahn. I love his Thrawn books and his Star Wars stuff, but not so much the other stuff he's done. It's whatever. It is what it is. So I don't hold any ill will towards these guys or anything like that. And I'm interested to see what the next thing they do is, which looks like it's going to be this called The Three Body Problem. It's adapted from a science fiction series written by Chinese author Liu Cixin. I'm not good at those pronunciations, so I apologize. Um, it's about humanity's first contact with a distant alien race. By the way, that piece of concept art looks dope. I mean, I like concept art though. So, um, it says, unfortunately, it seems like the ETs aren't coming to peace. The three books in the Three Body trilogy eventually come to tell the story of an interspecies conflict between humankind and the aliens, spanning from Chinese Cultural Revolution in the 60s through to the end of time, per Benioff and Weiss. By the way, this can kind of tie into the discussion that a lot of people have had with these guys. Um, since the beginning, because a lot of people have criticized how the Game of Thrones was amazing in its early seasons, but not so good in the later seasons. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that in the earlier seasons they were adapting something that had already been written, and they proved to be extremely adept at doing so. But when they got into the later seasons, they were taking material that hadn't been written yet, and so they were no longer adapting, they were creating. And I think that's where the plot got lost a little bit. This is why, for me, I have high hopes for this, because they've proven themselves at being very good at adapting a story, and this is already written in its entirety over a trilogy of books. So there's not a lot of room for them to just go off into the woods here, because they have a pretty fairly direct route. They aren't the only big hitters attached to the project, according to what I'm reading here at GQ Magazine. Brad Pitt is producing through Plan B, his production company. Rosamund Pike and Ryan Johnson are all executive producers on the show. The blog over at Netflix Tadum has a description of the show as a sweeping story of Earth's past, present, and future, with series co-star Liam Cunningham, who also came from Game of Thrones, as Sir David Seaworth, emphasizing just how book accurate the series is going to be. In his words, the people involved in making this will treat the books with the utmost amount of respect they can possibly give, which is awesome. So this is what I was really interested in. What is this about? Because I know nothing about this. I'm just now finding out about this. It's a Chinese sci-fi book trilogy about humankind's first contact with aliens in the 60s during the Cultural Revolution. The series lead, astrophysicist Ye Wenji, becomes disillusioned with humanity amid the turmoil of the era, and when a message comes through from an alien pacifist of the planet Trisolaris, warning humankind not to make contact, Ye invites them anyway. Says it takes the civilization 450 years to reach and ultimately threaten Earth. And as the series goes on, the conflict draws ever closer, with a shadowy group of pro-Trisolarian humans influencing events at home, softening up the planet for an invasion force. Haha, it sounds awesome. Alexander Wu is an executive producer on the series. By the way, it said somewhere, what did he work on? They have this listed somewhere. And I can't remember now. I remember reading what he worked on earlier. It's gonna. If I get back to it, I'll remember to bring it up. He's executive producer. He describes it as a privilege to be adapted one of the greatest masterpieces of Chinese science fiction. The Three Body Problem trilogy combines so many things I love: rich, multi-layered characters and true existential stakes, all told in an elegant and deeply human allegory. Groovy, 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 groovy. Liam Cunningham, of course, is from Game of Thrones, as Sir Davos Seaworth. John Bradley's on board too, the guy who played Sam Tarley. That's awesome. And if Weiss's last movie, a little bit hard to report. Jonathan Pryce could be joining. Benedict Wong is also here. By the way, everybody always wants to say Benedict Wong from the MCU, but I actually first learned about Benedict Wong, or at least came to know him as an actor, in the Marco Polo series that Netflix had, which was phenomenal. I know it didn't go beyond 2 seasons, but It was so good. I think that was one of the one of the first things I ever watched when we actually got our first Netflix subscription was I binged Marco Polo. It was just so good. Um, Also, Cixin from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So they're pulling in people from both um, the MCU and Game of Thrones. So, Alexander Wu, what have you done? I remember reading it in an earlier press release today. Oh, yeah, he was a producer on True Blood. That's what it was. By the way, True Blood, man, that's another show that, man, I only watched it through when it was airing. Chris has never seen it. I don't know whether or not she would want to watch it. Probably not. She might. I don't know. I might pitch it to her and see what she says. I could totally watch True Blood again. Um, Lafayette's character was just freaking amazing. There were ups and downs in that show, but it was a good show overall. Hmm. Anyway, this is some news for you this afternoon for those of you who are sci-fi nerds like I am. This sounds super interesting. I'm super interested. Super interesting. Super interested. I need to learn better grammar, apparently. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get more of these updates from me as I stammer my way through videos. I apparently need some coffee, so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go drink some coffee and probably record some more Last of Us episodes or something. It's raining outside. I can't do a lot, so stuck in the office, which is never a bad thing. See you guys. I'll catch up with you later. I said I was going to take a sip of coffee, right? Hot. Till next time, everybody.